It is 40 years since the groundbreaking punk band the Sex Pistols played in Cleethorpes as what was to be part of a national tour. They were promoting their new single Anarchy in the UK, but after a controversial television interview, all but a handful of the shows were cancelled. Simon Spark has been finding out why the Cleethorpes show still went ahead and what it was like to be there.
They were very loud, yes. They used bad language in the act, yes. I was pleased to see them and pleased to see them go.
40 years ago today, Jimmy Jackson became one of the bravest venue managers in the UK when he agreed to let the Sex Pistols play at the Winter Gardens in Cleethorpes. Their ferocity of sound from their first TV appearance and this interview on the Bill Grundy Show became the reasons why.
Which one?
Nothing, a rude word. Next question.
No. What was the rude word? Was it really? Good heavens.
The swearing and encouragement to swear led to public outcry, and what should have been a major UK tour saw venues cancelling, like Domino's toppling, but not the Winter Gardens.
No, I thought it was a bit of a challenge, and I don't see why we should have a problem. And with these groups, I had security, and I was always there from beginning to end. And the mayor wanted to come. So and I said to the mayor, I said, with the greatest respect to you, Mr. Mayor, it's really not your scene. And I said it would be terrifically loud. Oh, no. So that was settled.
But Martin Rolls did appreciate it. He still has a photograph of his ticket and bought a cassette recording of the performance, which is now burned onto CD.
We didn't even know the show was on until virtually a couple of days beforehand, and we just turned up on the night, and it was a life-changing experience, basically. It changed my attitude to people. I got more involved in the political side of life. It was things that the Pistols encourage you to do. You know, it was great that they actually did come here. You know, I'm really pleased that did happen because, as I say, it was a life-changing experience.
The Winter Gardens venue closed in 2007 and has since been demolished. But the fact that a band that changed the face of the British music scene played here in Cleethorpes is the very reason why people are still celebrating that fact 40 years on today. Simon Spark, BBC Look North.
Well, punk had a life-changing impact on my next guest, a music writer and author who's also a punk rock musician. He is John Robin, who's joining us now. John, good evening to you.
Good evening.
How much of a storm did that Bill Grundy interview cause at the time?
It's incredible now, when you look back on it, how controversial that was. You know, it's like the next day, every tabloid cover. For a programme that was only on in London, but it's one of those kind of pop culture stopping the country, life-changing moments. And like I think it was about a 25 day tour, and nearly every gig got cancelled. But fantastically, the Cleethorpes, a real feather in the cap for the town, they put the gig on. What a great story that was then. You know, what we loved about your story then, it underlined the positive attributes of the band instead of the tabloid negativity. That they were a life-changing band. They changed people's lives for the better. They're a really exciting band to go and see. The controversy may draw people in there, but the Pistols are a positive force for British culture all the way down the line. 40 years later, we're still talking about it as a really important art and cultural moment.
Absolutely. Was it brave then of the Winter Gardens and Cleethorpes to go ahead? Because I don't know who the other ones were that did, but I mean, so many people pulled out straight away after that interview, didn't they?
Yeah, well, nearly every town and nearly every city in the UK, they probably think it's a far cooler place than Cleethorpes. All panicked. The local mayors, the local police forces, the whole lot of them banned the Sex Pistols, but Cleethorpes put the gig on. I think that's something to be really proud of. It's a tragedy the place got pulled down. I went there about 6 months before it was pulled down. It was a bit kind of tatty, you know, and falling apart, but it's sort of a great old venue with a really great history to it. And sadly, it's not there anymore. You know, it's stuff like that is important in town's heritage. You know, they should be kept, those kind of things. I mean, that story there on its own puts Cleethorpes on the music and culture map.
Absolutely, a very good point. I mean, punk itself didn't last that long, did it? But everyone around at the time can remember the sleeve of, say, God Save the Queen. And although it got banned, I think, by the BBC, commercial radio played it, didn't they?
Yeah, well, it was a great moment, wasn't it? Because even though it was banned, and even though God Save the Queen was banned, and they still pretended it was #2, the BBC at the time, it was #1 record in the country, everybody knew. It's one of those great moments to be a teenager, isn't it? It's just like, it feels slightly naughty, and it feels like it's not really loud, but it's also one of the greatest records ever released. It's a really fantastic record, a really thrilling, exciting record. And it had that power to actually stop everything in the country all at once. And it's very rare that pop music does that. I mean, nowadays, everything's just so taken for granted. When you think about that moment in time, those 6 months, you know, from the Anarchy Tour to God Save the Queen, the Sex Pistols are on the front page of the papers nearly every single day.
Very
Yeah.
good memories of 1976. It's terrific to have you on the programme, John. Thank you very much indeed for those, and for those kind words about Cleethorpes as well. Wish you well. Memories of 40 years ago tonight at Cleethorpes. Maybe you were there. Now, let's have a recap of the main national and regional headlines.